But we can start up a new video right away and cover that game and play a little more closed non-combo and just have cut it off, you know, a little early. This will probably be a quicker one. Turd says he thought Deli might go 3 there. Which he did. Sorry, what's the situation? Turds combos everything, Deli combos back super hard, and Turds loses. Sorry, Deli loses. So Deli should not play in 6 with 8-6-7-8. Now, if he plays 6 with 8-5-A6, he loses to Galoof in 2. So no move in 6 is good. You've ruled 6 out. What about 2? If he goes Zell in 2, if Turds goes in 1, he just loses, so that's bad. 8-6-7-8, Lorana in 2. I thought loses to Umaro in 1. But maybe it doesn't, because 8-6-7-8 stays Deli's, and Zell flips back just enough for the 5-5 tie, or holds just enough. So Lorana in 2. Turds goes... Lorana in 2 makes the score 5-5. Makes the score a lot to a little. I think that's a tie. What am I missing? He went in 1. What's happening here? Deli gets the 6-4. So Deli just had the win against this with 1. I had meant to calculate that line out in the last video. I was saying, okay, if Turds goes in 8, the main line's in 1, and what happens there, but did not figure it out. So what was the move order of this game? 9, 5, 7, 4, Deli went in 3, which I apparently way undervalued. Turds went in 8, which was either a miscalculation or just a losing position. And Deli had the win in 1. Nicely played, Deli. He's rolling. He's been killing people in open. Maybe all positions I should just assume Deli's ahead. I hadn't realized 8-6-7-8 had quite that much combo potential. Yeah, they sent the move order. 9, 5, 7, 4, 3, 8, 1, 6, 2. Nice, got it. Alright, did we get a game, though? So it counts. And we got, I believe, our 6th second turn in a row on this rule set. Alright, Doom Train. As I've said in the last video, rock-solid close player, who's great in the Golden Boot, with different scoring systems, and maybe would have had a really good chance to win because he just basically didn't lose for the first 2/3 of the event, which is absolutely insane. If 3 was a win for Deli, that's a super cool game, and I'm glad I got it sort of recorded. Oh, yeah. You can't send messages with apostrophes. So what cutish message can we send? We're in a horror movie. Okay. So I'm going to probably go with an adjacent corner. I notice I have a 10 down, a 10 right, a 10 up. I don't have a 10 left, so I'm a little hesitant to play in 7 in case I'm hit by 4. But I don't think Doomy likes to go the knight formation, so maybe I don't have to worry about that. 6-3 A9 in 3. If he takes it, it's a bit unpleasant because my hand is not great going up and I can't take it back. So probably the best way to ask the question. What is the best way to ask the question? I don't have any 10s going anywhere on cards that I can take back. That's a bit annoying. So maybe I say, can't ask you the 10 this turn. We will ask him to take a 10 next turn. It's always possible. 9s are the second best thing, so maybe 7A2, 9 in 3. Maybe that's possible. Force him to take 9s later. My hand is very poorly oriented towards his card. Maybe 3-8, 9-8. But then my A7-7-4 is so overworked if he goes in 2. Now he is unlikely to go in 2. But I just don't want my only up there, because it's so easy to run out of steam. But I do like following up with 6-3, A9 in 2. Yeah, I think I'll try it. This gets out a card of my hand that doesn't face well towards the starter, so probably doesn't have a ton of play. I can take it back if needed. I do have the double capture in 2 if needed, and more importantly, I can have a big number facing out from 2 that may be tough for them to take later. So, what's happening here? Any other games to watch? That was a fun one. They're now chatting about it. Sarah inside. Who's that? That's Akiyama. So maybe we'll follow this game on the side too. So this is Akiyama Blizzard. Blizzard has not moved yet. We'll check in from time to time. So the positionally sound move is in 7, 8, or 9. In our game. In their game, no idea. Haven't been looking at the cards, just recording it for posterity. Because I think I'm gonna do some like advanced stats on players' games, trying to study them in depth and get a feel for them. I think that would be interesting. Alright, Akiyama playing very quickly, had his 8s to the left plan. You know, all these games are about challenging your opponent, giving them stuff they have trouble taking or you have an easy time retaking. And that's part of the reason that weak corners, I think, are such a viable starter type. Okay, so here, as well established, I hope, in the last video, I want to go in 7 or 9, because that is the thing where they have the fewest winning options against it. Now, with those A9 facing out, I suspect they can take the 9. Like, I assume he wouldn't have played this if he didn't have a card that could take the 9. But it sort of means he has to hold on to that exact card. And maybe that's the same card that can take an A up. So maybe if I play like A7, 7, 4, and 7, it's a little annoying because the card he needs for 9 is also the card he needs to take it from 4. So stuff like that, just even if you know they have it, giving them tough numbers to take can be an advantage. Now, to be honest, I'm feeling pretty terrible about this game right now, because I want to go A7, 7, 4, and 7, and if they can take it, my only capture in 2 is 7A2, 9, and that doesn't challenge them at all. And so if they can take that with anything high facing out towards 5, then my 6, 3, 9A will not be able to capture it, and I am in trouble. On the other hand, I still think it's my best play. I force them to take a 10, and maybe I can force them to take a second 10 down the road. If they don't have the 10, I like my position. It does use up a card that I really need, though. Like, if I go in 7 and they go in 2, that's just embarrassing, you know? If I just can't take any of the cards facing up. I just have no captures. That feels so bad. I guess I can take 8s and below, but I can't even take 7s. So I kind of don't want to use that card. But I think the most testing moves are 7 and 9. But I don't love our spot. We're going to try the move in 2. This is our next most testing move. But the T is so bad and they had a chance to set up for it. Alright, I think we will go for the move in 7. But my hand is not well oriented for it, which might mean my starter in 3 was bad. Though, if we think about it, that card in my hand would not help in this spot at all. So, uncomfortable position, for sure. I think the hand did not click well here. Man, Deli's on a tear though. He's just crushing everyone in open. He's like 10 wins, 5 ties, 1 loss so far in open. Just nuts. GB just has an hour left, so that will finish soon, and Turds will win his award. Alright, what's going on here? Blizzard has no captures except for 2. So the kind of logical move is to go in 1 with a high number down facing, presumably an 8. And then Akiyama has a tie with 3, 8, 6, 6, and 8. So that seems a plausible conclusion. He could also play 8, 5, 6, 1, and 4. But that looks like a tie as well. So unless Blizzard is something really nice here, I think 4, 6, 8, 6, and 1 and a comfortable tie is the likely conclusion. And there are a bunch of players right now playing the Golden Boot that weren't playing until today, so they could make a late run that would be neat to see happen. So again, just trying to force as many 10 captures as I can. If I can't do 10s, I'll do 9s. If I can't do 9s, we'll do 8s. Just make the captures as hard as we can. Because the players on the site are all good formational players, rarely making formational mistakes, so we have to force them to, right? If I give them weak numbers to take, they're not just going to jump and take it and let me recapture and be in good shape. They're going to find moves that don't give me easy ways to lock in cards, right? If he had played Braska in 2, he doesn't know my hand, but presumably I could go in 4, 5, or 6 and lock in any card, right? You know, if he plays in 5, I have a safe card in 2, all that. And we haven't seen really any opponents. So he didn't have the capture, so we're alive. Now, we're definitely going to leave 4 open. We're not going to build out from 4 because he doesn't seem to have the capture, so we're going to leave that alone. You know, we're going to force him to take other stuff. Now, we need to start flipping stuff, and we only have 1 flip. It is a lock-in. That's good. But I still don't feel great about this situation, because if they have a good capture in 2, I probably can't capture anything. I'm going to end up playing 7, 8, 2, 9, and 5. If that doesn't capture anything, then I'm just, you know, it's 5, 5, and they have 2 potential cards they can take. Now, flipping 9s and 10s, not necessarily easy, but because the cards don't play well out here, even though we challenged them successfully, they couldn't take our 10, and we have decent numbers facing out now, I think if he has good cards in hand, if he's set up nicely for this, he's got a pretty good shot. If he's not, you know, we have winning chances here. Or if he happens to play something in 2 with an 8 down, that would be amazing. But right now, I'm not feeling great, but it very much depends on kind of what cards he happens to have, and will, I think, largely come down to either he set this up really nicely, or it'll be kind of luck one way or the other. Alright, Blizzard went fancy. Don't really see the point, right? If 3, 8, 6, 6, and 8 now, doesn't Akiyama just win? No. Sorry, I was confusing who had which cards for a sec. I was thinking 6, 6, 5, 8, and 6 then loses, but 8, 3, 7, and 4, but 8, 3, 7, 6 doesn't. Okay, interesting. That was a fancy way to do it. Looks like a reasonable tie, just a bit fancy. It's weird. When I play, I often do go for the fancy thing because I like trying to show off. But when I'm watching, I sort of go, why would you do that? That's just needless risk. What if you miss something? All right. Well, GG. If they can take both, they win. If they can take neither, I win. If they can take one, it's a tie. There's a pretty good chance, unless I just set them up as established, that they cannot take the card in 7. So I think I'm very likely to tie or win. Okay, fair enough. You know, as I said, kind of how the cards play out is going to be semi-random here, and happen to walk into that. Yeah, he was in a tough spot. That 757A was pretty dead. I think he did make the right move in 2, and gave himself a chance, and it came good. Maybe play one more. Are there any good open games happening to follow? No. So in my attempt to talk about closed non-combo, I think I'm playing well and showing interesting stuff, but I also have not been able to rack up the wins. So, you know, might speak to strength of opposition. I think they've played well. I think they've held on to, generally speaking, good cards for the end game. They've played formationally correctly whenever they had the capture, and whenever they didn't, they did something else reasonably valuable. So, probably not. This used to be a rule set I could rack up a lot of wins on, and it's probably one where you can't exploit players so much anymore because the player level is a lot higher. But I have still had second turn every game, so maybe with some first turns there's still some equity on it. But I do think people basically understand this rule set now. But back in the day, I had a really good win record on it. What's happening out there? Curious to check what was going on in that Delhi game with thirds, because I didn't really have time to analyze it. Oh, my voice is going. Can we get one more game? Alright, this is a troll rule set. Like, RE is like perfectly reasonable rule set. 5 is a good level for it. Throwing on combo is just a joke, though. Not a bad joke or anything, but with no other rules on, combo cannot come into effect. And we wait. A proper video editor would cut out the waiting time and just skip to the games, but I can't do that. I don't know how. And, of course, we get our 6th second turn in a row. I'm really glad this happened to me here and not in the GB. I would have done terrible. So our hand is kind of all up-down cards. So we're going to have to be kind of careful to make it an up-down game. That's going to be pretty important. So for instance, if they go in 4 or 6, I will be deeply unhappy as their starter. But I don't think anyone really starts with side starters like that on this rule set, so that's fine. But I get really annoyed in close combo when I get hands like this and people start on the side that's not the direction of my hand. We have 2 10s facing down and 2 10s facing up, so that's kind of where we're going to intend to build our 10 walls. It does mean if they start in 5, and I believe Lewin started in 5 against us last time we played him, I will not go something like 9-3-A6 in 6, because after a move in 1 or 7, my cards will be kind of dead for the rest of the game. I have no side-to-side power. It will be very difficult for me to challenge. You know, I could go in 6, they go in 1 or 7, I go in 4. That's going to be my only option to have a big number facing out. But I think all my moves after that will be so pathetically bad that it's not very viable. So against a 5 starter, and if I go in 1, 3, 7, or 9, there is a fair chance they set up a J, and the J could often be the direction I don't want. Okay, we got a side starter the way we wanted to see it. That's very nice. We could challenge immediately with 10s up immediately. And I don't think that's on the face of it particularly bad, but maybe I'll wait a turn on it. If we go for it immediately, I don't love the L's. That's my thinking, right? If I go A6, 8, 5, and 7, huge equity if they can't take. If they can't take, in really good shape. Even better if I start in 9, actually. Because I have 7 covered if they go there, so my L's could be even better. A5, 7, 7, and 9. That's a tricky move, because they might think I'm giving up my double power facing towards 7, so they might think it's safe to drop a 10 up in 7, which it is not. I wish I had the double capture in 5 after, which I don't there. Because I have no left-right, just none. So... what's the L with the most double capture power? Sort of doesn't exist. At least not over there. No, I should be looking to make this game up-down, not turning it into some likely L. Because the L will, be too much side-to-side in the end if cards are in 4, 7, 8, 9. It's just going to be too side-to-side. My hand's not good. So instead, I think I should drop one of my A's down. But I'm really not sure where. I mean, the instinct is to do it in 3, but the problem is I'm never actually going to force them to take the A, because to do so I'd have to go in 2, and I have nothing for 2 because I have no sideways power. So I think actually I do hate my hand enough. I'm just going to go for the kind of big hope early play. Just like, I hope you can't take this. And I'm going to go in 7, not 9, because I have such weak power facing right that if they go in 9, which is my hope and my win condition or my tie condition, I can go in 4 with something where I do have double captures in 5. So this is a boom or bust play, I think. But I do hate my hand, and I did hate all the lines I calculated. And it does ask a question. We're just going to start asking questions. Formationally, this is my first really bad move of the day. Because formationally, this gives a free lock-in. But I think it does test them. It does ask the question. And they did not have the answer. So that's very encouraging. Now I want to threaten 5. And I think I'm going to threaten 5 with Fang, A5, 7, 7, because if they take 5, I at least can question them a little bit with 8, 8, 6, 6 in 1, if wanted. But also, Fang is, I guess not that redundant, but redundant with Lulu for threats in 6. Not that redundant. I just want to be able to take back well in 1, because I assume after I go in 4, they'll block 5. There's a good chance I don't have 6. I only do if they have a 6 or 10 to the right. So I really want to be able to play 1 with something that at least provides a little challenge for them. Something I completely haven't considered is I could go 5. 5 is really good if it doesn't set up 4 for them, and disastrous if it sets up 4 for them. Is it that disastrous, though? Might not be that bad. And they might think I threaten 6. Which I don't. Let's do it with the 9 up. That might be tricky for them later. Probably should have just gone 4. 4 is the sensible thing to do, given that I do not have a threaten 6 here. But yeah, I don't like this play I made. But if they don't have 4, I'm pretty good. Not even great, though, but I hate this up-down hand. I've not played this well. I shouldn't have done it that way. Yeah. I should have just blocked 4 and said, okay, you'll block 5, I'll play Lulu, and then hopefully I can snag something with Fang or Zell with a 10 facing out. Yeah, this is completely the wrong way to play it. I think I'd played pretty well so far in these closed non-combo videos, but this game I have not handled having all vertical cards well. Really should have gone for it. Might get lucky. They have nothing for 4, and they don't find anything strong here. But if they go in 6, I'm not that well set up for that. I'd love to be able to recapture Brawny with a high number facing out. I don't have it. I mean, an 8 is just not that high. The difference between an 8 and 9 and 9 and 10, I think, are really important differences here. And 8s are just not not very testing. So many cards with a 7 have a 5 next to it. So many cards with an 8 have a 6 or a 10 somewhere. That so many cards are like 4, 6, 8A, where the 6 can potentially take your 8. And of course, the other numbers are, often are plus walled too, but it's also that it's overpowered by 10s and 9s already. Difficult hand to play well, though. Did not manage it here. I think this will be my last game of the evening. Shame to leave on a bad one. I do have winning chances. Like, they might just, have nothing that works well here. If they're all side-to-side stuff, if they don't have 4... because if they don't play 4 here, they'll never have 4, right? Or almost never. So I'm going to keep playing away from 4 and force them to have it at the end. Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. Depends what comes. Okay. They go for the T. But I have the secure card at the bottom of the T. So I actually like my position now. And they couldn't take my first 10. So who's to say they can take my second? Sadly, I don't have 6. But I'm going to start asking them to take high numbers. Basically, they have to take a 10 and an 8 to win, or they take one of them to tie, or 0 to lose. It'll suck if they have something like Kuros and a 10 down, because then Kuros in 1 is the capture and they still have the 10 down for Zell. But we did okay. We got the secure card. We did bluff it. I did say I wouldn't play in 4 and then immediately played in 4, but it was the square where I could have the 10 up. If they go in 6, we probably just win with Zell in 3. If they don't have a capture in 1, then they have to capture Zell in 6 to tie. We sort of asked them to take a 10. They couldn't. Now we're asking them to take a second 10, and we'll ask them to take an 8. And it looks like they do have the tie, right? Because Rufus can take 8, 9, can't take 7s, can't take 10s, can take 8s and 9s. So they probably have something better left, and that means likely they can take an 8. But got a tie. Don't love how I played it at all. But still, I think just played... Oh, got a win. They should have used 9559 in 1. That was a mistake. Okay, so I think in the end, trying to show how to play closed non-combo, got 2 wins and 1 loss with a bunch of ties, all second turn. Might keep trying to make videos on this because it would be interesting to show first turn, because I think first turn's very interesting, but good night.